I kindly request all the participants to keep the mic and camera off, and any questions can be entered in the chat box. So I, Deepthi, on behalf of ISOLA Bangalore chapter, warmly welcome all of you for today's session, a brief stroll through Brief Garden, Sri Lanka. Our guest speaker, Dandy Silva, did his bachelor's in design architecture from Assumption University of Thailand and University of Technology, Sydney, and MBA from University of Wales. Being an architect by qualification, but passionately designing gardens for a living, Dan and his father, Dulan De Silva sir, have handled and executed multiple landscape projects for more than 4 decades with a firm namely Brief Garden Private Limited, and have worked with renowned architects of Sri Lanka, namely Geoffrey Baba, Anjalendran, Milroy Pereira, and many more. Few years back, I had a wonderful opportunity to do my landscape internship at Brief Garden and stay in the beautiful tropical paradise. For our talk today, Dan will take us through a video tour of Brief Garden, the garden which is designed by Bevis Bawa. So thank you all of you for coming, and over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Deepthi. That's a wonderful introduction. Let's start the session. I sincerely apologize for coming in late because there was a small issue in getting connected. So I had to talk to Sachin and get it done.
No problem. Yes, looking forward to the talk.
Hi everyone. I don't know how many of you have been to Brief. This is the entrance roundabout to the garden where Mr. Bawa's where he built his house. And if I talk about the history, Brief was a 200-acre rubber estate that was purchased by Bevis and Jeffrey's father, and later on, after their father's demise, it was handed over to Bevis. Bevis was the designer and the owner of this property, and he was the elder brother of the renowned architect Jeffrey Bawa. So Bevis moved to Brief when he was 20 years of age, and prior to that, he has worked under one of his uncles as a planter for 2 years, and so that was the qualification for his mother to hand over this 200 acres of rubber estate for him to look after. So when he moved here, he found this. This is actually the cornermost 20 acres of the land where the manager's bungalow was prior to Bevis's time. So once he moved into that tiny little bungalow, he had started developing the garden. Yes, basically it's just like how you and I would just landscape the little backyard of our house. But he ended up making a 5.5 acre garden by, within about 30 to 40 years. And he always says that the garden and the house grew until he ran out of money. So, so this is the entrance to his garden and the house in that estate. And these two, the gate pillars were actually designed by an Australian artist called Donald Friend. Sachin, can you bring it back a bit? Yeah. So these two gate pillars were designed by an artist called Donald Friend from Australia. So you will see lot more work of Donald Friend when we go in the garden and in the house. And so the story behind Donald Friend is that Donald Friend also, um, Bevis had met Donald Friend in a cruise ship. Well, those days there had been only ships, so uh, Bevis has been coming home to Sri Lanka from Europe, and Donald Friend has been traveling to Australia, his home, also from Europe. So when they birthed in Colombo, Bevis had invited him to come over to his little garden for 3 days because the ship has been in Colombo for 3 days. So, so he has driven Donald Friend down in his Rolls Royce to his garden. So by that time, the 60s, the garden has been there. Sorry, the 50s, the garden has been there already. And, um, and Donald Friend has never left. He has stayed there for 5.5 acres, 5.5 years. So this avenue has been created with a lot of palms, and all these sealing wax palms you see are almost, I think they are almost 80, 70, 80 years old. And the tiny little roads, that's the by roads you see on this little avenue, are the roads to the garages, the vehicles of the garden, and then we have some nurseries like the propagation houses and the quarters. This is another one. We have a see, so like that there are many avenues in the within the main avenue itself as well. And from here, if you turn right, that is the private entrance to the house. That's where all the house vehicles will be parked, and then you walk up to the main house through some like very private staircases. And if you turn left, this would be the visitors' entrance. So all the visitors are usually, because the private entrance gate is always locked. So the outsiders are always directed into the main car park. And on the left, we have a tiny little driver's waiting room for our visitors when they come, so the drivers can sit there and read a paper or just relax until whoever comes out. And all these tiny little features has been there from Bevis's time. So this is the main car park to the house where the visitors would come and uh, ring the bell. So this would be the entrance to the main house. And we have a very, from the beginning, our car park has been this washed gravel car park, which is I don't know how many of you all have been to Sri Lanka already, but this is like a very common thing. Washed gravel courtyards, washed gravel car parks are a very common thing among the Bhavas and their followers. And we can so now this table is not supposed to be there. It's just there due to the COVID regulations. So when the visitors come now, they would fill in a form and check their temperature, etc. So that's why this table is there. Otherwise, it's just this yellow wall, and we have a bell there. And this. I thought, okay, we'll walk into the house. So this is where the guests would enter when they ring the bell. If you are actually personal visitors. And this statue was also done by, Bevis says that he did all these statues by himself, but Donald Friend says what Bevis used to do is like tell someone else to do, I want this done. So in this house, we have 2.5 bedrooms, and all these, basically all 3 rooms has their own private courtyards. And this is the mural that was done by Donald Friend. Sachin, if you can stop at the most clear position, I can explain to you certain things. So, so this mural was done during Donald Friend's stay in Sri Lanka from 1957 to 62. If you are familiar with Sri Lanka, we have all these stupas, and there is a very sacred place called Adam's Peak. We believe that it's a footprint of Lord Buddha. That's what you see on the left top corner. And yes, no, the next one. And yeah, and then if you go further to your right, you will see a Buddha statue. That is also a sacred temple further right, almost in the center. Yeah, that is known as the Aukana statue. That is also in one of the kingdoms, the second kingdom of Sri Lanka. And so these are basically the areas what Donald Friend has visited. And if you come down, and I think, and I don't know how Lord Krishna has come into the picture, but he is also there with a flute. And and you will see the elephants, the procession of elephants. It's called the Candy procession. That's where the Lord Buddha's tooth is being carried around the city, and sacred tooth, and that's one of the main festivals of Sri Lanka. And if you go further down, yeah, that's brief with Bevis and all his butlers. I don't know how clear the picture is for you, but that's how it is. And then if you go right up, you will see the Gaul Fort entrance with the Dutch houses, and further up, yeah, there on to your right, little right, yes, the Gaul Fort entrance and the Dutch houses. So it's all about Dutch architecture there. And if you go to the left, you will see elephants. That's the Yala National Park, and there's a white man camping there, and below that is the Hikkaduwa beach. So like that, Donald Friend has shown bits and pieces of the lifestyle and the landscapes of Sri Lanka in one picture. Sachin, you can play. I think I have zoomed the areas. So we had to do a renovation, restoration to this painting because the painting was coming off. So that's Adam's Peak. And this is supposed to be Anuradhapura. And Dutch Fort, that's a Dutch Fort entrance and the Dutch houses. If you see a look above the Dutch Fort, the houses, like it has all the characteristics of the Dutch architecture. That's if you walk around Gaul Fort, you'll see all this. And that's a candy procession. And that's brief with Bevis and his staff, the butlers. And now you see this man is running off with lady's bag and the policeman's chasing. So this is how it was back in the days. So all this is explained in Donald Friend's. Donald Friend has published a book called the Donald Friend's Diaries on the volume 4. I think he has spoken about his stay of 5 years in Sri Lanka. So even this mural he has explained in detail. So we did a restoration to it, and it was done by a Sri Lankan restorer called Udaya Hemawasam. He's doing a lot of restorations in Pakistan and India as well.
Dan, is the sequence okay?
No, I think I have numbered and sent you the links. Neither. I mean, this is somewhere in the middle.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah. Now let's walk through the house. I mean, since we have gone into the house. Right. So this is probably a area where you talk to outside visitors whom you don't invite into your house. And again, with so I must tell you, I must tell you that when Bevis built this house, he was not an architect. No, he was a landscape designer. He was a planter, and he was. I'm sure you'll ask these questions at the question and answers, but he was actually a high school dropout, and then he was in the army, so he had no clue about architecture. But I think he learned by himself. So most of these paintings, like the sculpture, you will see a lot more tiny little statues and artifacts. They are actually from Bevis's mother. And this particular painting, what you see now, is from Bali, from Indonesia. And all the colors they have used on this painting is natural except for blue. And this is over 120 years old. And I hope you have heard of Lucky Serenayaka, another Sri Lankan landscape architect, landscape designer, and a famous artist. So that's his work, and this is by an English Scottish artist called Edward Scott, who was given a scholarship to come and do landscape drawings in Sri Lanka, off brief actually. So earlier this had been a bedroom, but it has been converted to his living room and the library. And these are the statues I told you about. They are all 150 years old, and a collection of Mrs. Bawa. these are also done by Donald Friend. So he has done sculptures, he has done murals, he has done paintings, he has done statues. And this is a crocodile from the Seychelles. And these were also done by a landscape architect from the Art School of Edinburgh, I think. She was given a scholarship in the early 90s to come and do research on the plants at Brief. So Bevis was, I think someone has said, yeah. So Bevis was so Bevis was one of the 9 majors of the British Army when the Brits were ruling Sri Lanka. And then later on, he was appointed as the ADC to the governor. And he has served under the last 4 British governors as the ADC. Yeah, that was a David Painter. That's a copy of David Painter. So we have a copy of, we have an original copy of, Picasso that was given by the same gallery. And there's a copy of David Painter. But all the others are originals of other artists.
Just a minute, Dan.
Yeah, sure. So, so Bevis has been an old boy of the Royal College of Colombo, and so, like I said, he hasn't been doing so well in school. So he has left the school at the age of 16, and then only his mother had sent him to one of her cousins who was a planter to learn how to become a planter because they had these 200 acres of land. This is a copy done by a Sri Lankan artist called Samira. And we have few paintings of Russell Drysdale and Russell Drysdale as well. He's also an Australian artist. These paintings were given to us by one of Bevis's friends, an artist called George Bevan, but the poems has been done by an American screenplay writer called James Broughton. If you Google, you can find this these poems. It's called Baba of Brief. So these were given to us on one of his death anniversaries. So that's Bevis. then that's his mother. She was Dutch. And in the center, that's Bevis again when he was young. And the King's Counselor is his father. So, and this is Prince Edward, the one who abdicated to marry the American lady. And this is the late Danish Queen Mother, Queen Ingrid. And here, yeah, that's Queen Ingrid. And in this painting, this was apparently taken in India. And that's Prince Edward before he abdicated. And he has been looking after Asia for the British Kingdom. And sitting next to him is Bevis and Jeffrey's father. He has also been the ADC to a couple of local, couple of Sri Lankan governors, as in a couple of British governors in Sri Lanka. And this is one of the last sessions of the Parliament before the independence, and that's Governor General. The four British governors Bevis has worked under. Bevis is always in the center because he was 6'7" tall, and I think Jeffrey was also 6'4". There he is sitting. And this is Vivian Lee, the film actress, Peter Finch with Bevis. And Bevis had used all these cars in his lifetime. And if you see, I'm sure you can see the two Rolls Royces. The black one was Jeffrey's and the white one was Bevis's. And the story is that when Jeffrey came back to Sri Lanka first as a lawyer, he has been using the white one for about 3 years. And then when he wanted to study architecture before he went back to England, he had sold it to Bevis for 750 rupees. And then when he came back as an architect, he got down his black rolls, and it's still there at Unuganga. Actually, that's me with Bevis probably a few years before he passed away. So this is the Spanish Garden, and Bevis says he was inspired to do this with his travels to Spain, to Alhambra, and so the characteristics of this pond, the porch area and all are from other, like, you know, if you look at the pictures, if you Google, you see. If you Google Alhambra for architecture's characteristics, you will see these sort of things. And he has used a lot of features, like even this door is a feature. And this is their family crest, family emblem. And heavily grown ivy on almost all the walls. And I think now the walls are being kept together by it. Another statue by Donald Fan and Bevis. This is the open air shower area. That's a black mirror, and that's Donald Fan's face with a water spout. And his marble blue eyes. And this is the shower area. That's bougainvillea on top of the roof, and it's actually this house has a bit of a not the most pleasant roof to see, because this most of the areas into this house are additions. So from time to time, a lot of roofs had been added. So now we are entering the garden. I'm actually walking behind some visitors who went into the garden at that time. Sachin, you all are,
Yeah, done.
if there's anyone who wants to ask me questions, they can post it on the chat box, so I can answer while I'm talking. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm missing out.
Right.
It's a very wildly grown garden with a lot of surprises and vistas within it. I'm sure most of you all have visited the Brief and Lunanga both, at least few of you all. If you compare them, you will see that Brief is full of, Brief is a colorful garden. You see a lot of excitement when you walk in the garden. But whereas Lunuganga is a very plain garden where you will see all the four corners of your garden when you stand in one place. So we have so many varieties of ginger types, philodendrons. Uh, Actually, Parvati, it's we have kept the garden in its original design, onto its original design, but most of the area, if there are any damages, if anything dies, we always try our best to replant them in the same place, and we have almost all the plants in excess, and and it's not a big challenge, but the challenge for us is sometimes with the labor. Sometimes you don't have many laborers. Most of the time, after a heavy rain or like a heavy rain season, we have a lot of maintenance to be done. And during the rainy season, even the lawn, you have to mow the lawn at least once a week, or once in 5 6 days. And no visitors don't get lost in the garden, because it's even if you see there's a huge garden, it's just a 5.5 acre garden, but it's just the way that he has worked on the landscape, and he has not changed the landscape per se. The scape of the land is the original. He has kept the original level differences, original. It's the it's a natural thing, and these are the cascade ponds. Disha, I think I answered your question as well. The maintenance, we have a staff of about 7 people. Out of it, 2 of them are looking after the house, a housekeeper and a helper, and then we have a driver who does the lawn mowing as well. And rest of the guys are, I think, 2 ladies who sweep the garden and do minor planting, and 2 other men again do more harder work. And during the drought, actually we have to water the garden as well. So when you walk in the garden, you see a lot of seeds, lot of areas for you to relax and maybe read a book, which I have not done, but hi Janki. Yes, yes, I do remember meeting you at Brief and in Colombo as well. So this is also Donald Friend's sculpture in the garden. So like I said, so we try to, I mean, after every rainy season, when we do that major maintenance into the garden, it goes back to what it was. And sometimes, I mean, you can't stop a girth of a tree growing from what it is. But then again, we always trim the canopies of the trees. I mean, if you take these bamboo plants, we reduce the bamboos, we propagate. I mean, we make more plants out of it, and it goes into our nurseries. But we try to keep the garden as it is now. I have taken this video after the COVID lockdown and after the heavy rainy season. So that's why you see a lot of patches in the lawn, because the the trees have grown, the canopies have grown wildly. So you don't get enough sunlight into the garden, onto the lawns. But uh, but by usually by September, October, we do that maintenance during the beginning of the, because in November our season starts, and this is actually where Bevisa's ashes have been uh, deposited. It's buried here, and the story about the stone is that when Jeffrey was alive, he had collected two of these tombstones. One was for both Bevis and Jeffrey's nanny, and the other one was for Jeffrey. But since the brother Bevis died early, Jeffrey gave it to us to keep it under this. So I think Jeffrey found another one later on, and it's at Doluganga. No side, we don't have a rain collection system here. Not really. We don't have any. Our garden is open only from 8 to 5, so we don't have any lighting in the garden. So even for these ponds, we don't have a filtration system, but the water is crystal clear in them. Sapna, I think brief itself is the answer for your question. We do have bathing wells not in the garden area. We have once one of our staff, one of the housekeepers, had counted close to about 120 different types of birds and animals. Of course, we have from time to time you have peacocks, you have monkeys, you have wild boars here and there. But when they come, it's damage to the garden. So this is actually the Japanese garden. Again, Baby says that he was inspired to do this after his travels to the east. And you'll see pagodas and tiny waterways, and it's more of a rock garden. Swara, yes. So we have, at brief, we have I think close to about 200 to 300 species of plants. Local and foreign plants as well. If you take my email from Sachin or Deepti, I can send you a list of plants that's commonly used in Sri Lanka or what we have at brief. We don't actually have any. We don't have any wildlife that was found in the garden that we give special care. But you will see lots and lots of birds around the house, and they're just there. Nobody bothers them. Where the trees are. No, all these trees were planted by Bevis because this was a rubber estate, Nina. It was from. So what the story is that Bevis said moved here in 1929, and from there onwards, only he has introduced all these other plants into the garden. Once you go up, once we walk up, I will show you the first tree that was planted by Bevis, which was a plumeria. And this is actually one of Bevis's spots. In this 5.5 acres, I don't think we have any not even a new rubber tree there. Swara, if you ask about brief, we have used lots and lots of. We have used about 4 or 5 different types of bamboos here. That's Malaysian bamboo, the local Sri Lankan bamboo, and then we have something called I'm not so sure about the English name or the scientific name, but it's the bamboo that's used for the sails. So that one, and then we have the Chinese bamboo, and then apart from that, in the garden you will see lots and lots of clusters of uh, Rafis. You have seen lots and lots of Molinarias. You have seen lots and lots of, well, there are, I don't know about many types of ferns, but mostly Boston fern, the fishtail fern, and then many philodendrons, and again more monsteras, and then what else? We have the out of the ginger types, we have the more Strelitzias, amomums, and the sexy pinks, and yeah, and no, Nina, this is actually a part of the 200-acre rubber estate, and yeah, we are in not that we have expanded and they are into the garden. We have introduced new areas. We have we are in the process of some. We have introduced a couple of new routes in the garden, and it's and my father my father has owned it since 1992, and he has. So he has started growing a jungle. Now it is a 25, 28-year-old jungle. And so very soon we are going to connect it to this as well. That's about 2 acres of like very thick jungle. And in the garden, you will see. I know a few of you all have been there, but if you remember, if you see it right, you will see we have so many viewpoints, so many places where you can go and just sit and look into something different. That's why I see the difference I see in the gardens of the two brothers, because at once Billy said laid out this garden, he was invited by his or his most of his whoever the foreign diplomats who were living in Sri Lanka, or his friend had invited him to come and lay out their gardens for them. So that's how Davis actually became a landscape designer. So like that he has done. So after that he has done some commercial projects as like few hotels back in the 70s. Yeah, back in the 70s actually. That's when the tourism more or less started in Sri Lanka. So if you compare a garden that Jeffrey has done and a garden that Davis had done, you will see a massive difference. I'm just going through your questions one by one. So I think this is. I don't think this is a. This is a very old garden. I think this is actually a contemporary modern garden when we compare certain gardens. And yes, we have one natural pond at the bottom of the garden, but it's it's not open into the visitors. Swedish, it's called the Soskia. I think Bevis is more of an artist more than landscape design also, because you will see he has combined architect landscape design into architecture, art, and then when you take art, you will see a lot of sculptures in the garden, a lot of statues, lot of features. Actually, Bevis was cremated in this ground, but no plants were damaged. And that's my father. He's the current owner of Brave. And this is the first tree that was planted in the garden, which is a plumeria. The one on the right. Yeah, this one. And this is probably the oldest plumeria tree. Lot of the people that I meet has seen. So. Uh, Yes, it is Anuradha. I don't think, Neena. I think this is a very modern garden compared to the Sri Lankan forests or the gardens, I mean the landscape around Brief. Uh, Aswina, so what we do is we don't collect them and take them out. We just let it dry, let it decay, so it becomes compost by itself. But when we have major maintenance, we actually take them out and then we do our compost pits. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rachel Sutherland is also here. She's the British artist the British artist I told you about, who got a scholarship to come and do landscape research on the plants or paintings of the plants. She has sent a message on your. Namita, we have used it only for the front, the front, the veranda, roof of the veranda. And this, the veranda, the roofing of verandas and some of the areas we have to do a lot of repairs due to, most after a heavy rain or a heavy blowing, most of the time some of these plants are some of the trees are on the roof, so which makes a lot of damages to the house. Well, we have a lot of blue doors and yellow walls around. And this is actually the visitors' toilet, but it has been a outhouse toilet for one of the outhouse toilets. But I would say a lot of people say it's one of those very interesting toilets, because when you sit in the toilet, you only see the jungle, you don't see anything else.
Yeah, I think we have played everything.
All right. So now if you want to ask any questions.
Yeah, so thank you, Dan, for a wonderful tour of the garden. The garden is such a beautiful amalgamation of art, plants, nature, history. It was amazing to learn about the detailing, the spaces of the garden, and it was a very nostalgic journey for me also, recapping my internship days. Yeah, so thanks a lot, and it was very interesting to go through this video format. It was almost feeling like we are walking through the garden.
I hope it was.
Yes.
I hope the bandwidth was good enough.
Oh no, yes. So if we have any, I saw a lot of questions you had answered before, and if there are any more, the participants can type in the chat box, and we can.
Oh, I'll actually share my email. So if you want to know anything else, you all can email.
Yes. There are a lot of compliments for your tour. Anuradha wants to ask, do you face any issue of pests?
Yeah, here and there, but we don't actually. We have, well, I've born at brief, but I don't remember doing any pest control, treatments.
Yeah.
So,
I remember seeing these big monitor lizards in the garden when we used to walk, like.
yeah, we have lot of.
Yes.
So,
So if you have any doubts, you can write to dan@briefgarden.com.
yeah. Uh,
There is one more question. Sir, have you managed and maintained during any natural calamity or even during the civil war?
I think it's that's what we do every day. So I mean, it's like a civil war every day because I mean there was no issue for us with the civil war, to be honest. But our problems are when there's a heavy rain or heavy blowing. When the floodings there, that's when our problems start. Otherwise, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so you have emailed your contact details and everyone can contact on this ID. So was Brief Garden the only property designed by Bevis? Shaili?
No, he has done uh, in the 70s. He has done many hotels. So, for example, Jeffrey's, if I'm not mistaken, Jeffrey's first hotel was Bentala Beach Hotel, and Bevis had done the landscape there, and then he has done another Sigiriya village. He has done, and then so he has done many hotels and many houses as well.
There are a lot of compliments from Ashok, Kripa, and Shyamal. It was a great virtual experience and wonderful session. Yes.
And thank you for getting me into this, Deepti. I mean, the full credit should go to Deepti because Deepti is the one who wanted us to call me and ask whether I could do something like this. Well, she asked my father, but then I think it came on to me.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Sorry, I was supposed to show the garden plan, right?
Yeah.
Give me just a second. Yeah, this is the garden plan. So basically, we started today from here, and we walked all the way down to the car park, and then we went inside the house and came to the Spanish garden, which is here. And then again we came down and started in the garden tour from here. And I think we went up to the main lawn up there and then went down the cascading ponds and then to the turtleneck statue, the feature, and then came back up, back onto the Japanese garden, through the bird bath. I think we went down to the pond here. And that's, yeah, then we went to the barbecue area. I completely forgot that just we walked through a very nice barbecue area. I completely forgot to explain that. But, I hope you all come and there should be something for you all to come and see as well. So, and then again came up this way into the house. So that's pretty much what we did.
Awesome.
Yeah. You can actually see this garden trend on the internet.
Okay. The plan explains a lot.
Yeah.
So, again, a lot of compliments. Thanks for the amazing work. Meditation experience. One question from Shaili Jain: was the property landscape designed all at once or step by step?
No, I think it was designed over about 30 years. Sorry, over about 29 to 60 odd. So it's about 40 years. That's why you have a lot of vistas and surprises, because you have, what he has done is he has done some gardening in an area like let's say 100, 200 square feet of area. And then later on, when he feels like doing something again, he has started from the periphery of that. So it's completely different from one area to the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can. Thanks a lot again, Dan. We have.
Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
Yeah, thanks a lot for being with us and giving this insightful talk. And thanks to technology, again, we are all connected from different parts of the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And warm thanks to wonderful Bangalore chapter team for their support, and to all the participants for being part of today's event.
And special thanks to Sachin as well, because he's been helping me like in the last 2 days to get the things going on right. So special thanks to him. Yeah.
Yes. So next Friday on 14th August, 6 p.m. we have our second talk, Hydroponics, the Future of Clean, Fresh and Healthy Greens, by the team of Bit of Greens. Kindly register for the same. And happy weekend to you all. And thanks a lot once again.
Thank you very much. See you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.